Welcome back to The Deep Dive, the show where we unpack a stack of sources to give you a shortcut to being truly well-informed. Today, we're plunging into a concept that's, well, it's everywhere, yet often misunderstood, the Center of Excellence, or COE. It's a term that pops up in everything from government to cutting-edge tech, but what does it really mean for how we organize, learn, and lead?
That's right. We're trying to go beyond just the buzzword today. We'll explore how organizations are creating these specialized hubs of expertise, and we'll discover how this whole idea of focused knowledge applies not just to big corporations, but to how we all navigate continuous learning, build high-performing teams, and even lead effectively across diverse, globally dispersed workforces. Pretty relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've pulled together a fascinating set of sources for this deep dive. We've got broad overviews defining what a center of excellence even is, some crucial discussions on fostering continuous learning, building high-performance cultures. We'll also look into the nuanced world of mentoring software teams, the complexities of managing cross-border collaboration, and, importantly, the principles of agile leadership that kind of tie it all together. So let's unpack this and discover what truly drives excellence in our, well, very interconnected world. Okay, let's start with the foundational question then. When someone says Center of Excellence, or COE, what precisely are they talking about?
Right. Well, at its core, a center of excellence is defined as a team, maybe a shared facility, or sometimes just an entity. Its main role is providing leadership, best practices, research, support, or training for a really specific focus area. What's fascinating, though, is how broadly, and sometimes, frankly, vaguely, the term gets applied. A COE in one sector can look completely different from one in another.
So we're definitely not just talking about a physical building then, like an actual center.
Not at all, no. The focus area itself can vary wildly. It might be a specific technology, like Java development, or it could be a business concept, like business process management. It could even be a soft skill, like negotiation, or a broad field of study, like, say, women's health. Some COEs are formed to kind of revitalize initiatives that have stalled out. Sometimes the term just refers to a network of institutions that are collaborating.
Okay, that broadens the definition considerably. Can you give us some concrete examples? Where do these COEs actually pop up to really ground the concept for us?
Oh, they are truly ubiquitous. I mean, really everywhere. Within organizations, they might be a dedicated department or just a shared resource, sometimes called competency centers or capability centers. In the tech world, for instance, they often merge around new software tools or business intelligence platforms.
All right.
And then beyond corporate walls, you see them in academia, too, like the Center for Excellence in Information Technology, the CEI. That was jointly formed by the governments of Guyana and India. Or in Australia, the Australian Research Council funds these big multi-institution COEs. Think the Center of Excellence for Dark Matter Particle Physics. Pretty cool. Even in the Philippines, a COE is actually a certification for university departments that show excellent performance.
Right. And in business?
In the business and technology world, the applications are incredibly diverse. It gets really interesting there. Walmart, for example, uses the term for certain employee healthcare venues. They offer free treatment to covered employees to control costs. Ford Motor Company has its Ford Ion Park Battery Center of Excellence. Pretty clear what that does, centralizing EV battery development. Northrop Grumman invested in a manned aircraft design COE down in Florida, using modeling and simulation to reduce risk for the B-21 bomber development. IBM Consulting launched a COE just last year for transformative generative AI, big focus area now, and it extends further still. In healthcare, the U.S. National Institutes of Health is putting, serious money into creating maternal health research COEs. Though interestingly, in the British NHS, apparently the term is sometimes used a bit sarcastically.
Yeah, okay.
And even in defense, NATO has its own centers of excellence. The U.S. Army maintains loads of them, focusing on areas like cyber, fire, special operations, training hundreds of thousands of soldiers every year.
That truly paints a picture of the COE as a really versatile strategy. So for you, the listener, the takeaway here is recognizing how these hubs of expertise, whatever form they take, they're designed to amplify impact and specialized knowledge across pretty much every kind of organization imaginable. It's clear that to achieve excellence, you really need that focused approach. But in today's professional landscape, that focus has to be incredibly dynamic, doesn't it? We're living in a world where constant change isn't just a trend, it feels like the defining reality.
Exactly. That's spot on. Accelerated customer expectations, shifting regulations, continuous tech advancements, and of course, the huge shift to remote and hybrid work since 2020. It all demands constant adaptation, unwavering adaptation, really. For businesses and for individuals, this isn't optional anymore. It's a global mandate.
Yeah.
So cultivating a continuous learning culture isn't just, nice to have. It's absolutely key to staying relevant and competitive.
And this isn't just some abstract corporate buzzword, is it? I mean, this directly impacts people's careers and ultimately an organization's bottom line.
It absolutely does. The demand for new skills is rising just as quickly as other skills become obsolete. It's a rapid cycle. And this has fundamentally redefined employability. It's less about what you already know and far more about your capacity to learn and adapt. There was a U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation report that highlighted this. 74% of hiring managers recognize a current skills gap in their own workforce. Aaron Sconard, Pluralsight's CEO, put it really well. He said basically, companies that win in the digital era will be those that see their skills inventory as a competitive advantage and make skill development a priority.
Those statistics really underscore the competitive advantage, but is there a hidden cost or maybe a common misconception that companies often overlook when they try to build this continuous learning culture, even with the best intentions? I mean, what makes some organizations truly excel at it, while others just seem to be going through the motions?
That's a great question because, while the benefits seem obvious, the implementation can be really tricky. Beyond just the advantage of, having more skilled people, there's this triple benefit that often isn't fully appreciated. First, enhanced employee engagement. When companies genuinely value learning and development, it directly boosts engagement people feel invested in, and that leads to higher productivity, better customer satisfaction. Second, improved employee retention. IBM did some research showing 84% of employees in top-performing organizations get the development they need. And even more compelling, 94%, almost everyone who stayed with their company despite other offers, said the company's commitment to training was a big reason why. It's not just about the paycheck.
It's about growth, yeah.
Exactly. And third, more effective recruitment and retention across generations. Millennials, who are projected to be, 75% of the workforce by 2025, they see company culture as a key driver for staying or leaving. And opportunities to learn and grow are now the #1 factor defining an exceptional work environment for them. If you're a technologist, listen to this. Nearly half would consider leaving their current job specifically to grow their role or skill set elsewhere.
Those are incredibly compelling reasons to make continuous learning a core part of any organization's strategy, and frankly, your own career path, too. But knowing why isn't the same as truly doing it effectively, right? What are the common obstacles companies hit when they try to build these continuously learning high-performance cultures? And crucially, how can they overcome them?
You're right, the journey isn't always smooth sailing. High-performance cultures, where employees align with goals, leaders are trustworthy, people are actually engaged, they can be seriously blocked by misaligned talent management systems. For instance, nearly 70% of organizations report that their employees simply don't know which behaviors actually align with the company's strategy. That's huge. And an even more staggering 90% don't actively engage in or develop those key strategic behaviors. Another major obstacle. Relying on partial or really infrequent data. 85% of organizations assess their culture annually or even less often. That data gets stale fast.
Right, it loses relevance almost immediately. And what about the human element, like soft skills? It feels like those are often the hardest things to define, let alone measure and manage.
You've hit on a really significant point there.
Yeah.
2/3 of executives find soft skills genuinely difficult to measure and manage effectively. And this contributes to why 0% of cultural change programs end up collapsing, usually due to negative employee attitudes or, frankly, unproductive manager behaviors. As Professor Jeffrey Pfeffer from Stanford noted, until leaders are actually measured by what they accomplish in this area and held accountable for it, nothing is likely to really change. It's more than just, ticking boxes on a form.
Okay, so given these pretty significant hurdles, what are the practical strategies? How do you actually build a truly high-performance culture that really embraces continuous learning?
It absolutely starts with leadership and having a proactive talent strategy. First, a transparent talent strategy. Organizations that really invest in employee development, they report 11% more profitability and are twice as likely to retain their employees. This isn't just about offering some training courses. It means having a clear plan for hiring, retaining, and developing all employees, not just the leaders. And it means addressing skill gaps, especially those tricky soft skills, across the entire career lifecycle.
Makes sense.
Second, improve and develop leaders. It's interesting, 83% of leaders say culture is important, but only 19% actively manage their business processes based on it. Leaders need to be adaptable, true to what the situation demands and what their people actually need. Proactively identifying and developing potential leaders is fundamental.
So it's about walking the talk.
Exactly. Third, gain organizational oversight. 90% of leaders fail to identify where and how their culture needs to change. That's a massive blind spot. Advanced technology, like data analytics, can provide a consistent, objective view of organizational talent. This allows for better, data-driven decisions, not just gut feelings. And finally, recognize soft skills at hiring. It's astonishing, but 74% of organizations regularly mishire employees, which leads to stress, low engagement, high turnover. It's costly. Using scientifically rigorous psychometric assessments can significantly improve hiring accuracy. It helps ensure a better culture fit and make sure you're recruiting for the actual role, not just a resume. Cielo's research, for example, found a clear correlation between investing in a thorough talent acquisition strategy and boosting organizational profits by up to 20%.
That's a really powerful set of strategies for building that organizational culture. Now let's zoom in a bit, maybe on a specific domain. Software development. How does the crucial element of mentorship play a role in fostering high performance and continuous learning within those technical teams?
Oh, it's absolutely foundational there. Technical leadership and mentorship have really emerged as pillars in software development. They drive innovation, they enhance team collaboration, and they ensure sustainable project success. Mentorship in this context is far more than just transferring technical know-how. It's really about continuous cultural improvement, empowering individuals, and creating the optimal conditions for learning and growth to happen organically.
So, beyond just giving advice, what does an effective mentor in a software team actually do day to day to achieve those outcomes?
Well, a good mentor acts as a guiding figure, right? Sharing knowledge, expertise, and strategic advice. Their key responsibilities usually include knowledge sharing, obviously, providing technical guidance, insights into best practices, helping navigate complex coding problems, but also skill development. And this is key beyond just technical skills like languages or algorithms. Effective mentors identify strengths and weaknesses to guide development in crucial soft skills too. Things like communication, teamwork, problem solving. And finally, career guidance, helping with strategic career pathing, offering professional development counseling that looks beyond the current project, at the long game.
And how is this typically structured? Is it just informal chats over coffee, or are there specific practices that make it really effective?
It's often a blend, I think, but having some formal structure is usually key for consistent impact. Setting clear, achievable goals is crucial. This means defining specific project deliverables, sure, but also outlining the technical and soft skills the mentee should focus on developing, and strategizing on their desired career path. Beyond that, things like regular one-on-one check-ins, using code reviews as structured learning opportunities, not just critiques, creating a safe space for questions, encouraging team collaboration, these all contribute to a really robust mentorship program. And of course, measuring progress and gathering feedback are vital for continuous improvement of the program itself.
It's one thing to believe in the power of mentorship, but it's another to see it empirically validated. What did that study, the Technical Leadership and Mentorship in Software Development 1, reveal about its tangible impact on team performance?
Yeah, the data from that was quite compelling, actually. Statistical analysis showed a significant positive correlation between leadership effectiveness and the quality of mentorship. The correlation was 0.62, which is pretty strong. Even more importantly, both leadership effectiveness and mentorship quality were found to be strong predictors of overall team performance. Together, they explained approximately 48% of the variance in team performance. So this empirically validates that when technical leaders actively engage in mentoring, it significantly enhances team performance and their problem-solving capabilities. It makes a real measurable difference.
That's a powerful finding. And it seems like mentorship itself has evolved over time, too, especially with all the shifts we've seen in how and where people work lately.
Absolutely, it has. Research from, say, 2017 to 2019 already showed an evolution from just informal guidance towards more structured programs, and those led to measurable improvements in technical proficiency, problem-solving skills, reduced onboarding times, and better employee retention. More recently, studies from 2020 to 2024 have explored mentorship in remote and hybrid work environments. They noted how digital tools and effective virtual leadership can maintain that mentorship effectiveness even at a distance. And the most recent review, from 2024, even looked at AI-driven mentorship, showing how AI platforms can offer personalized learning paths and real-time feedback, which helps with scalability, of course, but it also reminds us we need to preserve that essential human connection, that human element in mentoring.
Right. The AI supports but doesn't replace.
Speaking of remote and hybrid work, many organizations are now building and managing teams that span borders. How does this impact the quest for excellence and maybe the practicalities of running a center of excellence? Yeah, that introduces both immense opportunity and some pretty unique challenges. This is where the idea of nearshore collaboration often comes into play. It basically involves partnering with teams in nearby countries. Think U.S. companies working with teams in Mexico, or perhaps Western European firms collaborating with teams in Eastern Europe.
Okay, so what makes nearshoring different from, say, traditional offshoring to somewhere much farther away, or just keeping everything on shore? What's the kind of sweet spot it hits?
Nearshoring really aims to strike a balance between cost savings and operational efficiency. Offshoring, typically with more distant countries, often involves significant time zone differences, maybe bigger language barriers, and potentially longer response times. It can feel very disconnected. Onshore collaboration obviously is within the same country, but it often comes with much higher operating and labor costs. Nearshoring, though, offers that geographical proximity, often more cultural similarities, and better time zone alignment. That allows for more real-time communication and potentially faster project completion, but without the full cost of purely onshore talent.
Right, sort of the best of both worlds, potentially. And which industries are really leaning into this model? Where are we seeing it most?
A wide range are seeing significant benefits, actually. Information technology and software development definitely lead the pack. Companies can access highly skilled IT professionals at competitive rates. Mexico, for instance, has a rapidly growing talent pool in software development and cybersecurity. We also see it extensively in healthcare and medical support for tasks like medical billing or patient support. Finance and accounting, too, accessing skilled accountants at lower costs for reporting, auditing, payroll, things like that. But beyond those, you see telecommunications, e-commerce, real estate, travel, retail, even education and marketing, all leveraging nearshore teams for customer service, back office support, content creation, benefiting from reduced costs and hopefully improved efficiency.
Okay, so while the benefits are clear, there must be significant hurdles when you're managing cross-border teams, even in these nearshore settings. What are the biggest challenges that tend to pop up?
Oh, definitely. Even with proximity, challenges certainly arise. Communication barriers and language differences are still a factor. Varying English proficiency levels, subtle nuances in communication styles, these can hinder understanding, even within relatively similar cultures. Time zone management, while minimized compared to offshoring, can still complicate real-time coordination if teams aren't perfectly aligned. Finding those overlapping work hours is key. Cultural differences in work styles and expectations. Some cultures might prioritize relationship building and more indirect communication, while others are more direct, maybe more focused on individual accountability. Understanding those nuances matters. Legal and compliance challenges. This is a big one. Labor laws, tax regulations, data protection standards like GDPR or IPO, they vary significantly by country and demand really careful navigation. And finally, just maintaining team cohesion. Physical distance, even if smaller, combined with time zones and cultural differences, can lead to inconsistent communication or a lack of engagement if you're not careful. And that directly impacts team performance and morale.
Right, those are serious challenges. So, what are the best practices? How do you successfully navigate these complexities and ensure these global teams truly operate as effective centers of excellence?
Yeah, adopting robust strategies is absolutely crucial. It takes deliberate effort. First, effective communication. This means scheduling regular check-ins, leveraging collaboration tools, effectively things like Teams, Slack, Asana, setting really clear expectations right from the start, and crucially, encouraging open feedback and promoting cultural awareness training for everyone involved.
Okay, communication and culture.
Exactly. Second, cohesive team culture. It's vital to actively organize virtual or even occasional in-person team-building activities, foster open communication channels, celebrate diversity explicitly, and ensure everyone shares common goals. Third, time zone management and flexibility. Establish those core overlapping hours for essential real-time collaboration. Encourage asynchronous communication for less urgent tasks. Plan deadlines with time zone differences explicitly factored in, and emphasize flexibility where possible. Fourth, legal and security compliance. Understanding local regulations is non-negotiable. This means implementing strict data protection policies, drafting comprehensive contracts, conducting regular compliance audits, and thoroughly training employees on all protocols. And fifth, performance and accountability management. Set clear, measurable SMART goals. Conduct regular performance reviews. Foster open communication about progress and roadblocks. Utilize project management tools like Trello or Jira to track progress visibly. And encourage peer accountability within the team.
It really sounds like technology is an absolute game changer here, moving way beyond just basic communication tools. What's the critical role technology plays in modern global talent management?
Technology is truly transforming how organizations manage talent globally. It's almost becoming a COE in itself for managing these distributed teams. You have talent management software, TMS platforms like SAP SuccessFactors, Oracle HCM Cloud, Workday. They integrate all sorts of HR functions, from recruitment and onboarding to learning and succession planning. Netflix, for example, uses Workday to streamline its global recruitment and ensure consistent training across its whole dispersed workforce. These tools increasingly use AI and machine learning to automate screening, match candidates, even predict future talent needs.
And the AI analytics part sounds particularly powerful.
Oh, it is. This is where things get incredibly sophisticated. For predictive hiring, AI analyzes historical data to anticipate staffing needs and predict which candidates are most likely to succeed. Unilever uses an AI-powered platform that screens candidates through gamified assessments. They actually hire 50% of candidates via AI now, and it reduced recruiter screening time by 75%. For talent retention, AI can forecast employee turnover by analyzing behavioral patterns and engagement data. IBM's Watson Analytics reportedly can predict with 95% accuracy which employees are likely to leave, allowing for targeted interventions before they resign. IBM even supposedly replaced about 30% of its HR staff roles with AI, improving efficiency and helping employees identify skill development opportunities proactively. And for workforce planning, AI-driven predictive analytics helps optimize resource allocation across borders, predicting where more employees might be needed. Kaiser Permanente uses predictive models to forecast hospital readmissions with up to 80% accuracy, which enhances patient care and reduces costs.
That's incredible accuracy.
It is. And then you have the collaboration platforms, tools like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Slack, that become absolutely indispensable. Microsoft Teams, for instance, saw its user base surge to, 1.4 billion by October 2022. These tools facilitate real-time communication, file sharing, virtual meetings, driving reported productivity increases of 20–25% in some studies. And finally, there are emerging technologies. Blockchain is starting to offer secure, transparent verification of credentials and contracts, really valuable in a global context. And augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality, VR, are emerging for creating immersive training and onboarding experiences, allowing employees to gain hands-on experience remotely without ever setting foot in a physical office.
And it's vital to remember, as you mentioned with companies like Accenture, that embedding inclusion and diversity directly into the culture is crucial. Offering accommodations, respecting varied backgrounds, that's what makes these technology-enabled global teams truly effective, right? Not just the tools themselves.
Absolutely. Technology is an enabler, but the human and cultural elements are paramount.
Okay, we've talked about COEs as these sometimes broad entities and the global nature of modern teams. Now let's maybe narrow the focus again to a specific type of team that seems increasingly important, especially in professional services like software consultancies, the practice team. How does this concept contribute to building excellence?
Ah, yes, the practice team. This is a fascinating concept that really leans into that idea of fostering deep, specialized expertise within an organization. In professional services, think law firms, accounting firms, consultancies beyond the usual admin teams and the temporary project teams. You often find these practice teams. While project teams are created for specific, time-bound goals, practice teams are designed to be long-lasting, and their primary focus is on the specific craft performed by their members.
So this would be like a group of, say, software developers who are all focused specifically on refining their development craft together, rather than just being groups because they're working on different client projects. What really differentiates them from just a typical department?
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. You see this in law firms, right? Practice groups for real estate law or tax law. In accounting, maybe public accounting versus internal audit. For software professionals, it means creating a dedicated space where developers can continually further their skills with other developers, where they can share knowledge freely, pool resources for learning, and learn collectively from each other's mistakes and successes. The key differentiator is that enduring focus on the craft itself, the how and why of their work, not just the what of delivering a specific project.
Okay, so what are the big tangible benefits that come from investing in these kinds of focused practice teams? Why set them up?
Well, they provide a really strong sense of shared purpose and professional identity. That's powerful. They foster deep learning through mutual curiosity and strengthen connections through supportive peer-based relationships. And because they last much longer than project teams, they can continuously evolve processes, tools, and methods over extended periods. This leads to real institutionalized improvement, not just one-off fixes. Ultimately, their existence elevates the craft itself and levels up the skills of all their members. And that translates directly into a demonstrably superior quality of service for clients.
And these teams typically have a practice lead, right? What makes a good practice lead? How does that role differ from, say, a direct line manager?
Yes, absolutely. The most effective practice groups definitely have a leadership element, the practice lead. As David Maister noted in his work on managing professional service firms, the skills and behavior of this leader are absolutely key to creating team dynamism. But you're right, crucially, they're distinct from direct managers. A good practice lead is usually an experienced maker themselves, a skilled practitioner in the craft. They need excellent consulting or client-facing skills, they have to be deeply respected by their team members, and they need to truly embody the organization's core values.
So less managing, more coaching.
Exactly. Their role is primarily that of a coach and a facilitator. They provide informal, often one-on-one coaching focused on personal and professional growth. They run engaging practice group meetings, not just status updates, but real knowledge-sharing sessions. They actively disseminate new knowledge or best practices. They encourage the collective development of tools or frameworks the whole practice can use. And they advocate for learning opportunities for their members, conferences, training, research time. They focus on providing guidance and feedback, motivating self-improvement, encouraging what you might call a player mindset, where individuals focus on controllable behaviors and continuous improvement. Now, they might participate in hiring decisions or provide input on development needs to formal managers, but they typically stay away from direct HR activities like performance reviews or compensation. That maintains their coaching stance. Their ultimate goal is to create long-term value by engaging and channeling the energies of these professionals, fostering their growth, and ensuring the craft itself constantly evolves and improves.
That's a really fascinating distinction, and it highlights the importance of that peer-driven, craft-focused leadership. So what does this mean for you, the listener? It suggests that when you're seeking to truly grow your expertise, maybe look for organizations that actively invest in these kinds of dedicated communities of practice. It seems that's often where your craft can truly flourish and where genuine excellence is cultivated from the ground up. Okay, so ultimately, none of these strategies we've discussed, continuous learning, high performance cultures, specialized teams like practice groups, none of it truly works without effective leadership, does it? And today, more often than not, when we talk about effective leadership in dynamic environments, the term agile leadership comes up. What sets agile leadership apart?
You've hit on a critical point there. Yes, agile leadership is increasingly seen as essential for enabling true agile business change. Because it's not just about being a good leader. It's often described as great leadership that continuously gets better. It's seen less as an all-or-nothing quality and more as a continuum. Leaders continually adopt their style, expand their capabilities, learn and evolve to be more agile in their approach. It represents that fundamental shift we talked about earlier, moving from simply doing agile methodologies, like running sprints, to truly being agile in mindset, values, and everyday behavior.
That shift from doing to being sounds really significant, but maybe a bit abstract. The Agile Business Consortium outlined 9 specific principles for agile leadership. Can you walk us through some of them, perhaps highlight what makes them unique to an agile approach?
Sure. These 9 principles are often grouped under 3 core concepts: communication, commitment, or collaboration. And they do emphasize a different way of thinking about leadership. So, under communication, 1. Developing. Actions speak louder than words. This is huge in Agile. Leaders lead by example. They're actively engaged in their own development, not just telling others to learn. They demonstrate humility, empathy, compassion, care. It's about authentically being the change you want to see. 2. Reflecting. Improved quality of thinking leads to improved outcomes. Agile leaders value deep, high-quality thinking. This means looking at problems from multiple angles, actively seeking input, especially from those closest to the work. It ensures decisions are grounded in reality, not just made in an ivory tower. 3. Learning. Organizations improve through effective feedback. This is about courage. Agile leaders courageously solicit meaningful, useful, timely feedback from peers, from their teams, from everywhere. And crucially, they visibly respond to suggestions, closing that feedback loop. They actively model open, honest, respectful feedback, which builds psychological safety.
Okay, so leading by example, deep thinking, and embracing feedback. What about commitment?
Under commitment. 4. Inspiring. People require meaning and purpose. They focus on building and sharing a common understanding, a clear purpose, unifying the team around shared values and translating that into inspired action. It's about the why. 5. Engaging. Emotion is a foundation to enhance creativity and innovation. Agile leaders get that emotion is vital for people reaching their potential. They inspire others to bring their best whole selves to work. They foster innovation and creativity through accessibility, transparency, and deep respect for individual contributions and feelings. 6. Unifying. Leadership lives everywhere in the organization. This is key. They realize leadership potential exists in all people, not just those with manager titles. They actively provide opportunities for others to lead. Mentoring tomorrow's leaders in this kind of servant leadership actively sows the seeds for an agile culture to really thrive.
Recognizing leadership potential everywhere, I like that. And collaboration.
And finally, under collaboration. 7. Empowering. Leaders devolve appropriate power and authority. They recognize people work best when they're enabled, engaged, and energized, not just directed. Empowerment isn't seen as a binary on-off switch. It's a continuum. They balance needs and tensions while trusting teams to make decisions close to the work. 8. Achieving. Collaborative communities achieve more than individuals. Agile leaders focus on building communities based on high trust and mutual respect. They provide what's needed: resources, clarity, support, then grant autonomy. They actively foster forgiveness, positivity, generosity, gratitude, diligently preserving that psychological safety which is the absolute bedrock of effective teamwork. 9. Innovating. Great ideas can come from anywhere. They are genuinely open to influence and ideas from anyone, regardless of status or role. They make time to stop, really listen, and truly hear thoughts for improvement. This cultivates a continuous flow of creativity and improvement from everywhere in the organization.
These principles are incredibly powerful, aren't they? Whether you're actually leading a large team or just trying to improve your own work and how you collaborate with others, it really does feel like a fundamental mindset shift, moving from control towards cultivation. So today, we've taken quite a deep dive into this multifaceted world of excellence. We started with formal structures, the centers of excellence across really diverse sectors. We then explored that critical, frankly non-negotiable need for continuous learning in our rapidly changing professional landscape.
Yeah, and we saw how organizations are actively trying to build these high-performance cultures by addressing common obstacles, by fostering vital mentorship relationships, especially in technical fields, and by leveraging some pretty cutting-edge technology for sophisticated global talent management. The rise of those specialized practice teams also really highlights the power of focused expertise and continuous craft improvement within an organization.
And underlying all of this, kind of connecting every piece, is that crucial role of leadership, specifically agile leadership, which, as we learned, isn't just good leadership, it's truly great leadership that gets better. Those 9 principles offer a really practical roadmap, I think, for leaders and individuals alike, for how to cultivate an environment where innovation, collaboration, and personal growth don't just happen by accident, but truly thrive.
Ultimately, yeah. Whether you're an individual just navigating your own career path or you're part of a team striving to make an impact, that ability to embrace continuous learning, to operate with intention and focus, and to foster supportive, high-performing environments that seems paramount for sustained excellence today.
So as you reflect on today's deep dive, maybe consider this. What single principle or strategy from our discussion today will you choose to actively embody or perhaps advocate for to drive excellence in your own sphere this week? Something to think about. Join us next time on the deep dive for more curated insights, surprising facts, and hopefully just enough humor to keep you hooked.